In this video, I'm doing a review of the Scribbles That Matter Pro version, and I'm also going to do a comparison with the original Scribbles That Matter, which is this one here on the left. So I have done a full video review of this one. If you want to have a look, I'll have the link down below if you want to see it in detail. So for now, let's have a look at the Pro version. So probably notice straight away the cover is quite plain. I much prefer the style of the other Scribbles That Matter notebook. I think it's far more interesting than just a plain cover. This could be any notebook. There's nothing terribly unique. Does have Scribbles That Matter printed on the spine, so at least you can see that easily when it's on a shelf. I chose the sky blue version. I got a little card that came with it, so I chose this one here for my Pro, and my iconic, so they're original, I chose this one here. I found the notebook on Amazon. If you're interested, I'll have my affiliate link down below. So the main reason that I got the Pro version when I already have the other one is because they've upgraded the paper. So it is a little bit more expensive, but you get 160 GSM paper. So if you've ever seen the Archer and Olive, it has 160 GSM, and I don't know if you've ever seen anyone's pen test or mine from that, but it's really good paper. It's thick, it doesn't show through with highlighters and inky pens, and you'll see that in the pen test later on in this review. The other thing that came, the notebook came with this cover, so you can put the notebook in here and put it on your shelf, and then at least you see something a bit different. I think it would have been really great if they'd literally just taken that and then put it on the cover. I think that would have been so good, so much better, because I'm probably not really going to be using this. Like, my notebook's always going to be out, so kind of seems like a bit of a waste to go to the effort to have this really nice hardcover storage case when it could have been on the actual notebook itself. It has nice bright white pages, which you can see here. I much prefer bright white paper than yellow, and the original Scribbles That Matter does have a bit of a yellowish tinge, which you'll see when I compare it soon. So we have about, I'd say, 3/4 of an inch thick, and there is 2 ribbon bookmarks with the orange and blue, so at least it's nice and coordinated with the pen loop and the elastic band that I've just taken off to film this video. Does have this icons and their logo printed on the back cover. I think if they just put that on the front cover and maybe put a whole grid filling the entire page with these mini icons, that would have been something a bit different instead of just a plain cover. Came with this pen which has their name on it, and it is a fine liner. I have tested and used the pen, which you'll see in the pen test. I'm not really a fan of fine liners. I write quite small, and I find that it can get a bit inky and just difficult to write with compared to like a gel pen, but it did write smoothly and there was no ink skipping. So if you do like fine liners, I think they have a pack as well that you can purchase in all different colors if you are interested in them. So at the front here, we just have the usual, this belongs to page. You can immediately see the nice bright white paper, and then we go straight into the key and the index. So the key, I like that they've added a bullet code and a color code. So when I do to-do lists, I'll do 1 line is task started, 2 lines diagonally is the task is in progress, and then a fully shaded in box is the task completed. So that's the coding that I use. Maybe other people have symbols like an exclamation mark might be a priority task. So anyway, you've got that there if you want to use it. Then we have 3 index pages, and it's quite roomy. The line spacing is 7 mil for each row. Maybe if they'd shrunk that a little bit so we could squeeze just a few more lines in there, it might have been helpful. But I mean, 3 pages is more than you normally get for most dot grid notebooks anyway. So happy with that. And then straight afterwards, we go into the numbered pages. And the numbering sits below the dot grid, which is really good. Some notebooks, like the Rhodia Gold Book, for some weird reason, they are embedded in the dot grid, and it's really annoying when you're drawing up spreads. Much prefer when it sits below the dot grid. If I go to a random spot in the planner, the pages lay mostly flat. If I go somewhere else, I have broken the spine already, by the way. Laying mostly flat, so that's good. One other thing which I really wanted to point out, and I think is quite clever, and I've not seen another notebook do it yet, is you notice this little mark here, and on the left and on the right too. So it's very subtle, but it's going to help you align things when you are ruling up your spread. So it's already got the 4 quarters for you. So if you know there's like 20 dots, for example, from top to middle, then it's going to help you when you're creating evenly spaced like days of the week boxes, for example. So that's a really good element, just a nice little extra touch I've not seen in any other notebook. I think it's very practical. I will be counting the number of dots vertically and then also horizontally, and then I put that on a sticky note and I put it in the front of my notebook so I can refer back to that later when I'm drawing up spreads. It saves time as well. And I will have those number of dots in the blog post if that's like a deal breaker for you when you're choosing a notebook, if you like to have a certain number of dots. Also, the dot grid is not too close to the edge of the page. So we have a bit of a gap on the top and the sides. It is a little bit closer to the spine. Like it's not even on the left and the right pages. Maybe it's just that one. That one's a bit more even. You've still got the gap. I'll go one more. Maybe it was just that page only. And all those page numbers. As for the total number of pages, if I go right to the back, we have 153, which is quite generous given that 160 GSM is a bit thicker paper. So if I just show you, it kind of feels almost like thin cardboard nearly. And it's probably not obvious in the video, but it is a lot thicker than normal paper. So let's go to the pen test. At the back. Oh, before I forget, the pocket folder. See this pattern here, this design, if they put that on the cover, perfect. Would look great. So I'm not sure why they didn't and they saved it for the pocket folder that no one would really see. Quite roomy. You can fit a fair bit in there. Right, pen test. So it's 5mm dot grid, which you probably already guessed by now because most notebooks these days will be 5mm. The friction erasable erased cleanly, no issues there. I've done some highlighters. I've got the usual ballpoint gel and fine tip pens, some Mamby stamps. If I turn that over, we can see there is no show through at all. A tiny bit for one of the Mamby stamps, but otherwise looks really good. No show through for highlighters. Really impressed with the paper. I think it's really good, as good as Archer and Olive, and the Scribbles That Matter is comparable price too. Okay, so then we've also got the dual brush pens. So some people are probably going, oh gosh, you use brush pens in a dot grid notebook, shouldn't use that, it's going to blunt the tips. I've tried hand lettering. It's not for me. I just can't do it. I don't have the patience to be doing drills and everything, so I actually kind of use them as highlighters these days. I know it will blunt the tips. I'm okay with that because it's the only use that I'm only using them for planning. But anyway, so if you do want to use brush pens in this notebook, we can see that there isn't any show through for them either. Really, really good paper quality. Really happy with it. This is definitely going in my list of top 10 best paper dot grid notebooks. So why am I raving so much about it? So we'll compare the Pro version with the original. If I just pull up the pen test that I did for that, while I'm here, we may as well compare. We've got the same pattern on the pocket folder as the Pro version. Just give me a sec to rearrange myself. Okay, so pen test. Straight away, you've probably noticed the difference in the paper and why I'm raving so much about the white. It's quite a yucky yellow for me anyway. In the original, nice bright white. I've tried to use the same pens. I had a couple that had run out, like the Uli, for example. Anyway, I tried to keep it similar so you can see. When I turn this one over, and then when I turn this one over, just rearrange, we can see that there is so much show through for the original. And I was quite negative in my review saying I don't know why there's so much hype around this notebook because I was so disappointed with the paper. Not the case with the Pro, really good. Let's compare the brush pens. Just give me a moment. We can already see there's so much show through. I can literally read exactly what's written on the back. It's so thin. Whereas with this one, no show through. So excellent. It's really good. They both have a pen loop. They both have a lot of pages. Because it's a lot thinner in the original, it has 201 plus the pen test. This one had 153. They both lay flat. Once you break the spine, just show you, break the spine. And they both, you can tell I haven't broken the spine for this page. And then they both have 2 ribbon bookmarks which coordinate. So some dot grid notebooks don't coordinate the colors and it's kind of like annoying for me. I just think it's just so easy to make it all matching, and I really like that the Scribbles That Matter, all of them coordinate, all of the colors, like the cover is on the ribbon bookmark and it's on the pen loop. It all just matches really well. The indenting from the edges of the pages is closer in the Pro version, so I think they squeezed an extra dot in as well. I will have a count comparison in the blog post. And down the bottom, this is what I'm talking about. See how it's a little bit closer than this one over here. But it's the same like font size, really clear and easy to read for the page numbers. And I'll just show you, that's what I mean by the dot, by the sticky note with the number of dots. And I just put that at the front just for easy reference. The key with the bullet code and the color is larger in the original versus the Pro. They probably could have just extended it down instead of having some dead space. Not to worry, you can see how bad the show through is. And then the index is the same for both. Same style with a table, and you also get 3 index pages for the original version, which is the same in the Pro. So I hope you found this review and comparison helpful. I think if they had taken the design of the cover and put it on the Pro, that would be perfect. I would be buying multiple copies of the Pro version. Absolutely love this cover, but the paper, I just can't overlook the paper in this one. So as for which one I prefer, I would go with the Pro. Worth paying a bit extra to get that 160 GSM paper. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more bullet journal notebooks or planner review videos. I usually post one each week.